Morning, everybody. Have with me, starting on my left, Council President Sue Donaldson, Virginia Anderson, who's the director of the Seattle Center, Council persons Licata and Compton. And we're here to announce that the city-sponsored activities at the Seattle Center for the Millennium Celebration will terminate at 6 o'clock in the evening. Making that decision was a tough task. But after talking with everybody from the police department, the fire department, getting the most current information from the FBI and the U.S. Attorney, and in consultation with the council, we had 5 council people involved, 4 at one time, never 5. For those of you who follow the rules precisely as we do, and we've had a thorough examination of all of the risks attendant to this decision, and based on the fact that it's a very different sort of event. It's not like every other New Year's Eve, and we have a whole lot of activities occurring in our city, from the Y2K issues that could affect the whole city in various effects. We're comfortable that the city government's in good shape, but we have the whole community, and there are everything from elevators to other activities that we have to be on the alert to. It also is something that when we heard the terrorist who drove a bomb across the border, at least heightened the information and the intelligence about the possibilities of a terrorist threat. And although we are comfortable that Seattle is not a target, that is the advice that we've received from the FBI, they can't at the same time assure us that there's no risk, and that at a time when a city is just recovering from the WTO and the anxieties, the heightened anxieties generally everywhere, that adding another layer of uncertainty at this time was not the prudent thing to do. And that our concern was really first for the safety of our citizens, first, second, and third, and the safety and concern of being able to respond to the whole of our community. A couple of points that I'd like to make, that I'd like to remind our citizens that discharging weapons within the city limits is an illegal act and a safety hazard, that people should not drink and drive. They should not call 911 to make sure the systems are working, because it'll jam the system. They will be working if you need them, but don't call to check. So again, I want to stress this was a decision focused primarily on the public safety of our citizens, that we are concerned that people have a safe New Year's Eve, that taking an extra precaution seemed to us to be the prudent course of action. With that, I'd like to introduce Council President Sue Donaldson.
I'd also like to acknowledge Councilmember Richard McIver, who is here, and we'd love to have him join us. He was also part of this. These are unusual times, and I think that many people were consulted by the mayor in making this decision to get the best information from the fire department, the police department, the Justice Department, the FBI. The council members were also involved. And it really became apparent that these are unusual circumstances, that the WTO with the arrest at the border. And the fact is, there'll be great seats for the fireworks. We're blessed with the city of Hills, and everybody will still be able to see the fireworks from the place they watch it from for the 4th of July and in prior New Year's. So there's still great seats for the fireworks. The fireworks will go off as expected. It seemed unwise to create a crowd of 50 or 60,000 people in these uncertain situations. So that was the decision that the mayor made, and I certainly support it.
Before we go to Jenny Anderson, who I'd like to give the details of what this really means in terms of programming, the Millennium Celebration has started. It started on Sunday, and in fact it started back on Martin Luther King Day, when we started planting trees, opening up urban streams, and we're going to be lighting a bridge here later this week, hopefully a second bridge before the celebration ends, which is scheduled to end on Earth Day. And as you all have been told in the past, that we're in this city trying to focus on the core values of our community, of volunteerism, celebrating diversity, being good stewards of the natural environment, as a moment to reflect and carry with us into the next millennium those elements that make a great community. That is ongoing. That will continue to be ongoing. With that, Jim Compton.
I want to applaud the mayor's courage in making this decision. I think it takes guts to say that we will do what's necessary to reduce the risk, and to say that no loss of a party or a big party is worth the loss of a single life. And I think we made the right decision to reduce the risk and to not create the inviting phenomenon of 50,000 people all in one place at a moment when maybe the city couldn't afford to take that chance. I think this was the right decision. It was done the right way with everybody involved. There was a very, very good discussion among police and fire and city council and mayor. And it was the right thing to do. We've reduced the risk. It's going to be a wonderful New Year's because we'll all see the fireworks, which are going to go on. And I think we've done the right thing. No one will give the city any credit if 12 people don't die at Seattle Center. But I think you've got to realize that this was too risky. And I think the city has made a very good decision.
Let me just say that the mayor was in a tough spot. He had a very hard decision to make, and he really reached out to the council and invited us into his chambers to discuss the options with the police and the fire. And it really was a consensus decision to not go forward because of the reasons that were outlined by the other council members and the mayor. That our primary concern is the safety of the citizens, and even though it may be a very small probability, nevertheless, it was one that we did not want to go down that road.
Well, I think I share with the others who are sitting here the disappointment that we will close early on New Year's Eve. And I don't think that's anybody's first choice, and I understand the reasons why the decision is made, and I support those reasons, that we want to make sure that we're having a safe and sane and family-centered New Year's and Millennium celebration, which is what our celebration has been about since last January when we started it. So I just want to remind you that this Millennium celebration was announced almost a year ago. It began with Martin Luther King weekend, and it has continued all year. We have had a remarkable series of celebrations which will continue until Earth Day 2000, and that is in April. The celebrations don't end until that time. This week, yesterday, we had record crowds at the ice rink, record crowds at Center House. The circus revenues that just came in are way up. In the last 2 days, the number of tickets sold is remarkable. So people are enjoying this week of coming together as a community and sharing with all other people in this community their hopes and their enjoyment of getting ready for the new millennium. We will reschedule most of the events. We will certainly reschedule and are working with the artists to reschedule the fire ceremony. Those pieces are on display in the exhibit where they have been, and many thousands of people are able to enjoy them, and they will be there through that day. We will move our swing dance out into on the center of the grounds between 5 and 6, and we will have that be a real ending point for the day on Friday for New Year's Eve, and then at 6 o'clock we will close down the grounds, and that will be it for the day, opening again on the 2nd. A reminder that all week long we have musical groups, choirs, dances, art exhibits from children, ice skating, carousels, wonderful artistic displays produced by the cultural festivals from all year long that have been put around the grounds, lighting displays. It is really extraordinary, and I would love to share it with everybody in this room. So please come out this week and celebrate with us.
Thank you, Jenny. I guess I would conclude with we will have an unprecedented force on our streets, the 850 police officers plus, on a 12-hour shift starting 6 o'clock Friday night to 6 o'clock the next morning. We'll also have an increased ability to respond with fire and public safety. They have an increased force of 80 to 90. out in our community, and that people should feel confident that the city has done everything we can possibly think of to deal with what will be an uncertain event. But one, I think that we can feel confident that, as Jenny said, this is a safe and family-friendly transition into the next millennium.
Mr. Mayor, when
At least one terrorism expert was suggesting today that if you don't have hard evidence of a specific threat, then this decision represents what he calls a loss of nerve. And in fact, hands terrorists, if there are any out there, a kind of psychological victory in that what they might do has forced a major change in what this city might want to do on New Year's Eve.
Well, I guess I could only respond in that I have no information other than what you've already been reporting in the papers. We have uncertainty out there, and that's to be sure. But this was not taken as a decision based on the terrorist threat alone. It was taken in the light of Y2K, all of the other uncertainties that are out there, and that compounding uncertainties in an event where we have a limited personnel on our streets to provide safety for all of our citizens was the basis for it. That, plus not being confident that we can ensure everybody's safety at an event the city was hosting.
Mayor, does this represent in any way a loss of faith in the police department?
No, none whatsoever.
Mr. Mayor, thousands will come anyway. How will you deal with them?
No, the grounds will be closed at 6 o'clock.
How
What
will you get them to
about
leave?
outside the grounds?
Where will the people go?
There are lots of places to go watch the fireworks. The whole city is available. We can see the Space Needle from lots of points around our community. And I hope that people take advantage of that. I also hope that people take advantage of the moment to be reflective, to be with friends and family, to think about the future, think about the things that are important.
In the
Well,
past
but
week
The
has
FBI
been-
has told you that the city is not a target. What has changed?
What they've said is they have no concrete evidence that the city is a target, that there are lots and lots of rumors being published. They have been unable to find any basis in any of them. The fact of the bomb that was transported across into Port Angeles is well known, and but beyond that, at the same time, they're working 24 hours a day, every day of the week, trying to run down every possible threat, and it's fairly understood that the president has all of us on a state of heightened alert, and I think it's just prudent that we not add uncertainty to uncertainty.
Just
Mr. Mayor, you have
Sunday
a
you
city
were
like
saying-
Jerusalem, arguably the most threatened city in the world New Year's. The celebrations will continue. Paris, London, New York, Washington, other cities with great threats where the celebrations will continue. Have the terrorists won in Seattle?
I don't think so. We made our decision based on the circumstances in our city, and that, as I said, this, if it sets an example, it might be for 3YK when that occurs, that our concern is how many levels of uncertainty should our police force, our fire department, our citizens be expected. And I think the only other piece that we have a sense of heightened anxiety in this city in part of the aftermath of the WTO, that people feel that more tension, added attention is not something, should be a time to reflect and to celebrate.
Do you believe you would have
Recently
made the
a
same decision
Sunday-
had we not just gone through WTO?
I don't know. I would say that contributed, but wasn't the deciding factor. We've talked through a lot of possibilities that could occur, and I think I don't want to be the only one answering the questions here, you guys. But we took into account all of that. Obviously, we took into account that there would be those who would say that we're giving into terrorism. I'm concerned about the safety and public well-being of my citizens, our citizens in the city, and that's the basis for making the decision.
What
Were you
changed?
afraid
was
the
criticism.
anarchists might be
Sunday,
coming
when
back, Mayor?
Sunday you said that we shouldn't change our lives. What's changed?
I still believe that. We shouldn't change our lives based on threats of terrorism. I haven't changed my mind on that at all.
Were you concerned the anarchists might be coming back? You just mentioned WTO, and certainly those images aren't going to easily leave our minds.
I don't have no evidence of that. I do not know that, and at the same time, it's because we have a community that has heightened anxiety. It's because we have Y2K and all the attendant uncertainties that occur around that. It's because that we have a force that needs to be available for all of our citizens throughout the city. And it's because all other support forces in the region are taking care of their own communities. And so it was with that in mind, and the question is, what right do we have as our citizens to take any risk? If there's a way, and that is is and has to be our first responsibility.
Mr. Mayor, in closing the center,
measures
you're
been
pushing
taken?
everybody out into other areas. Aren't you making whatever crowd there is much more difficult for the police to monitor?
Well, we thought about that as well, and if you look at what's happening, I think there's a diminished interest in going to public assembly, and that this will just further that. And the issue really was, are we going to host it? And by the city hosting facilities, we're inviting people to come down. And that to do that has an implied promise that everything's going to be safe in a large area, as opposed to a discrete area that you can provide that assurance.
Mr.
So
Mayor,
I think there's-
That's what it sounded like to me.
washing my hands?
Yeah, that you said, well, the city
Every
has some
morning.
implied feeling with the people that if it's a city-sanctioned event, that everything's fine. But if it's not city-sanctioned, then
No, I'm saying a city-sanctioned event in a 72-acre park was one of the considerations that we took into account, that if we're inviting people, then it carries an added responsibility that we provide assurance, given all the levels of uncertainty that exist in our community, from lots of different impacts, starting with Y2K, but there's all of the other elements around the year 2000 that carry other connotations that we needed to be concerned about. And it was a question of, is it appropriate for us to take that risk on behalf of our citizens? And I think I concluded that it wasn't.
Mr. Mayor, you received a fair amount of criticism for a lack of planning in the minds of some people for WTO, underreaction to threats. Is there a chance now you're just a nervous Nelly?
No, Brian, I think I'm not going to revisit WTO. The council's going to be having that opportunity over the next 2 months. I acted on the best advice that we could get with our police department and all of the attendant security agencies, and lived with it. In the same time, this is a different event, and that we listened to our police and fire department, our experts, applied our own common sense judgment in terms of level of risk, and made a decision. There's no question it was a tough decision. We're fully aware of the questions you might be asking. But in the end, our responsibility is to the safety of all of our citizens. And on that basis, we made this decision.
Did the police and fire advise you?
But on this question, though,
financial
when
impact
you look
of
at
this
this and the WTO security problems, does this essentially lead you to conclude that a city this size of Seattle, with the number of police, the size of the police department that it has, cannot host an event this size at the WTO or New Year's Eve without far greater police force? Now, this is a question that Las Vegas is asking now, because they have a big celebration coming up. Washington and New York are still going to hold celebrations. What does it say about a city this size and its police department?
Well, I don't think it has to do with the size of the police department. It has to do with all of the other activities that are occurring on a very special New Year's Eve, that I don't anticipate this setting any precedent whatsoever, except perhaps, as I said, Y3K. That it's a special set of circumstances that exist in our city at this time that led us to conclude that the prudent thing to do here was to put safety of our citizens first, which we did.
But
Did
don't
you
most of
arrive
those
at this
elements?
decision a few days ago or just yesterday?
We have been thinking about this for weeks at least, and in intense conversations.
Did police and
with-
fire advise you to close the center at 6?
I got advice from police, fire, council, everybody else I could listen to, and in the end, I'm the one who am taking responsibility for making the final decision.
What's the
Don't most of
financial
those
impact
elements-
on businesses around the Seattle Center? Have they been able to tell you that? Not that that would factor into your decision, but I'm just wondering.
I don't think it should have much impact at all. If anything, it might help businesses that are not at the Seattle Center. Ginny, you may want to address that.
We have not been able to assess anything what the financial impact would be, and I think right now the best you can say is that it could work to their advantage and it could be a disadvantage, and I don't think we have a way to say
No
that.
businesses per se will be cordoned off as part of that area, is that
No,
right?
no,
the
just
center itself.
just the campus itself.
And
What
this-
happens if people don't leave?
We have experience with doing this. This is not the first time we've ever done it. You know, when we gate for Bumbershoot, we clear the grounds at night. When we've gated in the past for the Bite, we've cleared the grounds, and we've never had that experience. And I will say, you know, when you ask the question, is it pushing people out into, at that time of day, our experience is that that's not when your crowds are the largest. It's when it's around after 10:30 that they're really getting bigger and bigger. So we're not pushing large numbers. These are families who will be down there. All of the programming's been designed for families. We are still fenced and gated that day. It is a non-alcohol zone. It is not an unruly crowd. These are people in Seattle. And I think the decision that you're hearing is that if the city's going to err, it's going to do it on the side of safety. And that's the decision that's been made.
Virginia, in light of this, has the private
One more
party up
question,
inside
Evan.
the Space Needle attempted to get out of their evening up there, their contract at all?
To my knowledge,
No.
they have not, and I've talked with the Space Needle people late last night about that planning. The fireworks and the private party are still going forward,
And I talked to them this morning.
they've got plans.
You talked to the people in Oregon who are...
No, I talked to
No,
the Space Needle.
owners of the Space
Are you expecting this to be a politically unpopular decision?
You know, I've not made and never will make a decision based on political popularity. My responsibility is to the citizens of this city and their safety, and I made the decision on that basis. Thank you very much.
Those people are interested, we also have programming changes for the center. Yeah, pick these up here. Snag half of them there if you could.